Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Fervent for the show, where we help you grow your business to infinity and beyond. I don't know that I'm allowed to say that, but well, I just did. Today we are joined with Tim Ryan, my co-host at Ryan TNT. What does the TNT stand for, Tim? I think people have been wondering. Are you like a Tim?
It's a long story. Because so back in the day when the internet was first starting, like a username, it used to be Ryan T, and then that became more difficult to get. So then that turned into Ryan TNT. So it's Ryan, Tim, and Terry, my wife, stemming back from the early days.
What's her handle?
Sometimes she'll do TNT too. I don't know. It all depends.
Well, there you go. And we also have special guest, the man behind Cure, Chris Shelton. He doesn't go by Christopher. I probably hate that. I hate my first name. You probably hate your full name. So when someone calls you your full name, do you get mad?
No, it's just more formal. I can appreciate it. I usually write it out, like in the signature, I use Christopher instead of Chris because it sounds, I don't know, a little more formal. But nowadays I'm just going with Chris because it's shorter and simpler, and I'm getting too old to write out another 5 letters.
Well, you should know that anytime you're around, me, it's as informal as possible.
Yeah, well, I know, Zack. But, it used to be very difficult to fill out Scantrons because they never had enough blocks for my full name.
That's what. So, a lot of people know you from StartWheel. A lot of people know you from ODU. A lot of people know you from Cure. A lot of people know you from maybe something else, the guy riding his bike that's electric around town. Yeah. But when you introduce yourself to someone, how do you normally do it? For someone that has so many different personas, if you will, how do you introduce yourself?
Oh, man, that's a great interview question because I have no idea. It changes based on the year, I guess, and whatever antics I might be up to. But nowadays, I say that I'm a restaurant owner during a pandemic and spend a lot of my time renovating a house that we bought last year, and that kind of wraps it up. It's I haven't had to do this a lot during the pandemic because there's no networking events to go to, so I haven't brushed up on my introduction skills lately. Thanks for putting me on the spot.
So one of the deals
worst interviewers in the world ask I find that the worst interviewer in the world, or people who interview poorly, are ones who are like, so tell me a little bit about yourself. And so I hinted at that and then made you kind of say, okay, how would you introduce yourself from that? But yeah, I mean, sorry.
Right. No, it's totally fine. I'll get back to you on it.
Okay. Stay tuned, everyone.
I'll polish up my resume.
Chris Shelton, unknown, parts unknown.
Serial dabbler.
Serial eater.
Yeah.
Serial killer.
No, serial, Cereal.
We'll leave that for the Netflix documentaries, Tim.
So what's been happening the last year?
Another question. Keep them coming.
What's been happening, Chris? You so during our transition about a little over a year ago, you wanted to focus some more time on Cure and to get the business up and running, not up and running, but strengthen where everything was going.
Sure.
So I'm sure that you probably are thankful that you did that, not realizing what was about to happen in March.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. The intent when I departed StartWheel was, well, look, we've had this business now for going on 10 years, and it's about time we try to quit our day job and take it full time. I can't say that it was profitable enough at the time, and certainly not now, to support 2 families, my business partner and myself. But without putting a full-time effort towards it, at least from one of us, we would probably never get there. So I had to hand over the reins of StartWheel to focus on Cure, and the expectation was with that full-time effort, by this time today, certainly we would be profitable enough to support at least, one person's income needs. And then the pandemic had other thoughts on that matter. So it's been kind of a roller coaster since March. Also, at the same time I was leaving StartWheel, my girlfriend and I bought a house over here in beautiful Portsmouth, right across the street from the houses on the water on the western branch of the Elizabeth River. If you're ever going across the West Norfolk Bridge, you can see our place. But it was in...
We can wave.
Yeah, do that. I'll wave back. But it was kind of in, rougher shape. It's a 1949 vintage house that hadn't been updated, at least since the late 80s, early 90s, I would say. It had for example, a covered porch with a rotten roof that I had to rectify, and took the opportunity to add a deck on top, which is great because we can see the water across the one-level houses across the street. So turn it into a water view. We had 14 pine trees, like 70, 80-foot tall pine trees that came down, and then that contractor left us high and dry and didn't come back to clean up the mess. So we had a pile of logs, 10 foot high and 10 foot long. And then COVID hit. So somebody loaned me their Bobcat, their skid steer. And I went ahead and cleared the yard and graded it myself. And
so we need to add home renovator to the list of things.
Yeah, I would say home renovator, maybe home builder, even some of the projects that I've, flipped a bathroom, 3 bedrooms, a living room, dining room, a whiskey room, as we call it. It's got wood paneling and kind of a unique architecture. Re-roofed that covered porch, put a deck on top, brought 4 koi ponds back to life. Lot clearing and grading. I have picked up and relayed about 1,400 square foot of brick paver patio and walkway, because they were originally laid on just bare earth, and so they were all jagged to the extent that the inspector noted it as a trip hazard and something to be rectified. So I went ahead and picked up each brick one by one, dusted them off, dug out the base, laid a proper base, relayed all the bricks. I think I counted something in the neighborhood of 2,000 bricks. Mm-hmm. So I've been busy with this, and I would say to put a number on it, I've probably built $100,000 worth of equity, above the price that we paid for the home.
How did you, is that something that you've been good at your entire life, or is it something that you learned along the way? Not necessarily each piece, but
a mix of that and YouTube videos.
Yeah.
YouTube. For example, my dad was always building something. Our house growing up was, some kind of construction zone for most of my childhood. He had taken this double wide prefab modular home and put a second story and a front porch and a side porch, and built a 2-story garage. And so he came, a story I like to tell is he came home one time from work, and my brother and I were I want to say 4 and 6, and he had the scaffold set up as he was building this 2-story garage, and my brother and I were on the roof, just being 4-year-old monkeys. And, that freaked him out. But I'm not shy of a job site and some physical labor. And with the restaurants, all the build out for Norfolk, we opened the doors having spent $35,000, which is extremely low for a restaurant build out.
Did it have a hood already?
I'm sorry?
Did it have a hood?
No, we still don't have a hood there.
Okay. You just don't do that kind of meal prep, I guess.
Right. We developed the menu around not having a hood because hoods are extremely expensive and ongoing cost of cleaning it. And also, generally, if you're if you need a hood, then you're doing less healthy food, like fried food, for example. Though it'd be great to be able to do a burger in there.
Wait a second. Fried food is not healthy?
I mean, it's good, but I don't know if it's as good for you. I eat it all the time. I mean,
there you go.
I can't do without fried chicken. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Bob Vila.
Yeah, hey, I've been watching some Bob Vila on WHRO Create. Shout out to that channel. Excellent broadcast.
YouTube University is such an interesting thing. So my wife and I recently got a new puppy, maybe like 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, something like that. And YouTube was not around when I had a puppy last time. And so it's really interesting just to think about how I trained that dog and now how I'm training this dog. And so a lot of it is through YouTube and watching a ton of content around like, hey, here are the things to do. And so same thing, like I've had to puppy proof a lot of things. And so like some of the stuff in there is construction things where like I had to, he started eating like the AC unit or like pieces of the AC unit outside. So I had to build like this fence around it. And so like I looked at different things and YouTube helped me figure out, okay, this type of fence will probably help you with this. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah.
Tim?
No, I think that to your point, YouTube, I believe, is the second largest search platform, only second to Google.
What is it called?
YouTube. Heard of it?
Oh, YouTube.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. I wasn't actually, I thought you said something else there.
No.